The Zen Doctor with Dr. Stephen Simpson.
Hi, my name's Dr. Steve Simpson. Thanks for finding the Zen Doctor podcast channel. I mentioned at the end of the last episode my view that intuition is our greatest gift. The more I learn from others, the more convinced I am that this is true. So my job today is to convince you and to offer some suggestions about how you too can sharpen up your intuitive skills. I knew from the start of this series how crazy it was to start a new podcast channel without a plan or any structure. But fortunately, this series somehow developed a life of its own. The invisible giants came to my rescue yet again. I knew I'd need them, and they didn't let me down. Earlier in the series, I talked about fear and anxiety and how anxiety can be the most damaging to performance, and certainly to finding the Zen mindset where good things happen. Understanding the difference between these two emotions has been instrumental in significantly reducing my stress levels, but not eliminating stress completely. There are times when I wish it could be so. Other times when I recognize that without some background stress, I may not get much done. The invisible giants show up most times when I need them, and then they do the heavy lifting for me. But I never know they will be there until the moment. An example's public speaking. This is one of the commonest universal anxieties, and I'm not immune to it, and I know that I'm far from alone. What if I knew for sure the giants would show up on time every time I walked on stage? Then all of my pre-performance anxiety would be removed at a stroke. But it doesn't work like this, nor for any other performer I have talked to about this subject. There's a plausible explanation why this should be so. Without a little adrenaline, keeping in mind that a little more than a little is by far too much, a performance would lose its unique edge. It's why live theatre and music is almost always a far richer experience than a studio production. A perfect recording always lacks the magic of spontaneity. Live performance sets the performer free and allows intuition to guide the gift of improvisation. Improvisation is a gift that we all possess, and a little anxiety is the magic ingredient of flow. We may not be able to change anxiety, but we certainly can change the way we think about it. When you have times of anxiety, what difference would it make to your life if you were able to shift your thinking and recognize anxiety only as excitement? Only you know the answer to this question. All I know is that intuition is one of those invisible giants that will help you if you get out of your own way. I've had to think about this episode more than most. At one point I was about to ditch it. At another point I was going to combine it with another topic. And at yet another point I planned to replace it with the subject of creativity. My conclusion was that creativity and intuition are inextricably linked. Yet creativity can't exist without intuition, and so's the best place to start. Great communicators have always known that metaphors and stories are sometimes the only way to attempt to explain complex subjects. I'll follow their example with this story. Soccer is the most popular game on the planet and will be my metaphor. Soccer's not a game of life or death. It's far more important than that, as someone famously once said. For better or for worse, intuition deserves a place in my fantasy football team. Intuition wears the number 11 shirt and is the kind of player that the coach is not sure whether to pick, nor sure what position to ask him or her to play. This player's an enigma and doesn't appear to do much. Not much running, not much passing, and rarely scores a goal. The player is also not particularly popular with the fans, the board, or the press. One of the player's few friends is the coach, who picks him for almost every match and gets a lot of abuse from the fans in return. The coach survives because he's a good coach and gets results for the team. At the end of the day in soccer, the result is all that matters. The secret of the coach's success is that he is psychoic. Remember this word, the sweet spot between the psychotic and the psychic mental states of mind. Because the truth is that when intuition puts on the number 11 shirt for his team, the team almost always win. When the coach drops him, the team almost always loses. I agree with the coach. If I had dropped intuition from this series, I may as well have played golf every day, gone for long walks. Intuition is tricky to explain, even for the experts, but I think we all know when we have it, and we know when we don't. Intuition is the glue that sticks all the other things we've talked about together and makes them work, and it can make us lucky too. The power of intuition is recognized by just about every religion and culture, and for good reason, yet they all have the similar problem of not knowing quite what it is, where it comes from. Here's an example that I've used for many years. The Zen Buddhist teacher is sitting on the floor in meditation, surrounded by his 11 students. The subject on the agenda today is, you guessed, intuition. In the middle of the group is a bowl containing a single orchid. There's total silence. The minutes pass. The hours pass. Bones and muscles become increasingly painful. Finally, one of the students breaks the silence. In a trembling voice, he asks, "What are we supposed to be meditating about?" The teacher sighs wearily and replies, "If you ask this question, you'll never know." And that sums up intuition, which is a good place for us to finish today. In the next episode, I will develop these thoughts further and will certainly include at least one strong suggestion for you to consider, for you to find intuition more easily. And it just might be quite a lot easier to use than you think. On which subject? What are the things that you think about? And what are the things that you just know? Because when you know something without knowing why you know it, this is intuition, and we all have this gift. Now you just need to think less and know more. So, have a great week. I think you will, and know at least some intuitive thoughts will emerge from the depths of your unconscious mind. I look forward to hearing about them more next week.
If you have enjoyed the Zen Doctor with Dr. Stephen Simpson, then why not hit the subscribe button? The music, The Soul of the Shaman, was specially composed for the Zen Doctor.
To find out more, go to drstephensimpson.com.